Cast all your troubles away. Wherever you're going, just know that I'll be there. Count on me, put on your smile. No need to frown, 'cause I'm here. Just look to me, and it will be alright. Just take a breath and look around, 'cause I have never ever let you down. My love for you will never fail. I'll be here forever.
Count on me, put on your smile. No need to frown, 'cause I'm here. Just look to me, and it will be alright. Alright. Just take a breath
Take a breath.
and look around. I have never ever let you down. My love for you will never fail. I'll be here forever.
You can count on me.
But you can count on me.
I know you're worried, you're afraid, but trust me, you can count on me.
Said I'll always be there, I'll never leave you. I know the others have failed, but I will be right there for you.
Just take a breath and look around.
Look around
I'll
and
never, never, never let you
Said
down.
I'll never, never, never let you down.
And I never will.
You can count on me.
You can count on me. I said I'll never let you down.
People come and they go,
I'll never
but
leave.
I'll be.
You can count on me.
This is the Legacy Show once again, popping in from Washington, D.C., all the way to New York with my favorite person, Patty. Hey, Patty.
Welcome, everybody, to the Legacy Show on the Pick TV network. Here we are again, celebrating our loved ones. They might be gone, but they're never forgotten. And we are here to always pay tribute in their legacy. It's bittersweet. It's okay, because they left beautiful memories, and that will never go away. Nobody could ever take that away from us. And we thank you for being part of that amazing, history in the making and legacy. Thank you, Dr. David, for hosting. How are you?
I'm great. Today is a little different. We don't have a special outside guest today, but we're going to talk about, Michael, and that's your husband and his dad passing away. And Patty, I remember you told me that
Yes,
day.
sir.
And for everybody's watching out there, Patty is from New York. She's the person who this show is really based out of New York. And for Michael, her husband, I met him. They came to DC. We hung out at the Pentagon. We got something to eat at the Silver Diner. Man, we had a good time walking around. You got that limousine at the Gaylord Hotel. So, Patty, I want to talk about, I know you interview so many people, but I want to ask you a couple of questions. Being with Michael, your husband, in the loss of his dad, and there's somebody out there watching during the holiday season. We're going into September, the holiday season. There's somebody's going to lose a loved one, Patty. What did you have to do with Michael? How did you have to give him his space? What did you see? It's your husband. What was that transition like, Patty?
Oh my gosh. Well, you know what? It was really hard because, if it's like, I guess I'm not a doctor, but I'm just gonna use a metaphor, right? A parable. If you were a doctor and then someone in your family just came from a car accident, you can't work on that person. You just can't work on that person. So here I am, a certified end-of-life coach, and I'm in this position where, he's not necessarily asking for my services. I don't want to seem patronizing. I'm also going through the loss myself. I need somebody there for me. So what ended up happening is that we were just holding space for each other. And it was great because there was a lot of those power in the pauses. They weren't awkward moments because, we're married 30 years. And there always seems to be this sense of need to just fill in that space when, there's something in the happening, right? I don't want to say the elephant in the room. My God, it's more than that. It's like a severe loss, and it's there, and especially those first couple of weeks, and then there's these moments that you want to fill in the space because you want that awkward feeling of that loss. I'm trying to put words on something that's almost impossible to do because it's such a heaviness. And yet we were able to be together and find power in the pause, and I learned that, through church service. And I'm really thankful for that. And my husband came from a very strong foundation. In fact, at his father's service, the priest mentioned, and I'm going to try not to get choked up here because I'm usually will cry at a Hallmark commercial. So this is hard. I'm doing my best to, speak from another perspective. When the priest was giving his service, he did reflect on my father-in-law, John, always being there. So my husband came from a very strong foundation. And I also was raised, believing in something, and we call it God. I'm Catholic, and I, listen, whatever works for you, right? I just, as long as you do good at the end of the day, that's all that matters. But we are Catholic, and so is my husband. And, I came back to be very involved in the Word of God, and I go to church service on a digital platform, which some people find funny. I find healing, and it's a beautiful fellowship. And we've been going for a few years with a Pastor Renee, and she's amazing. And I was prepared for this severe loss, and I was prepared to, as best as you can be. I mean, for God's sakes, I'm human, but it really seemed to make a difference that we didn't have to feel like we had to talk every single moment and not feel weird about it, or feel like, oh, somebody's must be upset at me, or I'm not saying the right thing, And then there was also, my husband has a great sense of humor, and so does his entire family. So that really was so relieving. In fact, I highly recommend it. Humor is so beautiful because, there's nothing we could do about it. And if you could find moments of laughter, even through the pain, even through the tears, it's really magnificent what wonders humor does. So we were able to get through with humor and silence and,
Yeah. Patty's here, folks. We're talking about healing from the loss of a loved one. That grief moment. There's 5 stages of grief, and a lot of times when people leave the planet or leave here, and we close to that individual who leaves the earth, part of us goes with them. My mother passed away, Mother Evans, and my father, Father Evans, after married for 50 years, and I had to readjust my whole life. And my sister Brenda passed away. She was one of my siblings, and that was in the year 2020. I talked to her Saturday. She was gone Sunday, and I still miss my sister. Dealing with grief, and some people have different levels of dealing with grief, and everybody grieves different. And I often say to people, don't ever say to somebody, I know how you feel, if you haven't been there. If you haven't lost a sister, you don't know how it feels. If you haven't lost a brother, you don't know how it feels. If you haven't lost a mother or father, you don't know how it feels. So I tell people all the time, don't say that. Don't say you know how it feels. You can just pray with them, and a lot of times give people their space, give people their time, give people their moments. It's when people are grieving. Patty, I was talking about the 5 levels of grief, and a lot of people grieve in different ways.
There's actually 6 now. They added one from an expert, but go ahead, finish your thought. And, I'm talking about humor, and somebody poked me out of here, and I think I know who it was.
That's okay. We good. When we're talking about grief, Patty, some people, because of death, divorce, separation, change, it's still the same pain, and today with so much going on with mental illness, there's a lot of people, Patty, because of depression. Some people still haven't gotten over COVID.
Mm-hmm.
I think more than the mental aspect of COVID, and then being in the hospital like my sister Brenda was, you can't visit anybody. I don't know how that feels, Patty, for months and months and months can't see your loved one. That was just one of those times that we got through, but it was real tough, Patty. And then in the midst of that, I lost my sister Brenda, who passed away, and healing from the loss of a loved one, Patty. This is so real. We're going into 9/11. We're going into the holiday seasons, Patty, and we have to be sensitive to others. And I think giving people their space is very important, and not saying I know how you feel if you haven't been there. But let's talk about, for Michael for a minute. Did you have to give him his space, Patty?
I did. And, there's so much truth to keeping busy. I mean, he's usually a busy person anyway, because he works full time, and he's, just always being called. He's one of those guys that you could count on. Yet he was busier than ever. And, it seemed to keep him really like level-headed. So he never really showed any signs of collapsing or meltdowns. It was like just little moments, but there was something that still happens, and we could be having a perfectly fine day, and then all of a sudden, and it doesn't change the day, but moments of all of a sudden crying when you least expected. So we have the smart TVs, right? Wow. And we have all our photos saved So when the TV is still on, but we're not watching a show, photos will be on like a photo slide. And then every now and then, guess who pops up? My father-in-law, you know, and we'll be sitting there, and all of a sudden we're laughing, and then we look and we'll cry for like a minute, you know, and we're just like, so it's like this constant flux. It's okay because it's not okay, you know. It's about coping, and the sixth step is finding meaning, because if we could find some sense of meaning, again, this is the mystery of life, right? But this is something that we cannot escape. This is something that we have to, you know, accept one way or another, because it's not healthy not to allow and accept. Nonetheless, it still hurts. You still miss the person, and finding meaning, and not always, don't take it so literally either. And again, I read this from an expert in the book Finding Meaning, but the point of this is it's finding meaning of, like, even in your own life, even in lessons learned from your loved one. If it's somebody that's in your family that passed away, like for instance, my father-in-law, he taught us so much, and then, you know, put it to practice what he taught us. Finding meaning, it doesn't have to be only like finding meaning, like why did they pass away? Because sometimes you can't find any meaning. I mean, if somebody lives till 101, well, the meaning, you know, they lived a long life. The idea is to find meaning deeper than that. Find purpose. Find meaning in just, like, you know, even cooking. You know, reading a book and being able to walk away with some morals, or if it's a pretend book, walk away with some laughs or hopes and dreams. You know, finding meaning is important, because we are still living, and I can't imagine my father-in-law wanting to see us suffer. Of course, it's respectful to pay respect and have those moments of silence to say, we remember you and we are saddened that you're not here with us. Yet it's important that we continue living and laugh through it, you know, laugh at the funny memories we made together, you know, and find purpose in those teachings that they taught us. Because our elders, you know, if it was an elder that passed away, and even if it was a child, I know we have some moderators in my grievance chat room that you've frequent flied in, which is a beautiful space too. That's a public service. And we have some moms that lost children, and then in hindsight, they were able to find meaning through things they realized that their child taught them. And perhaps in the moment while they were living, they didn't realize it. And in their legacy, they were able to take those beautiful memories that nobody could take away, and then find them and put them towards meaning and purpose. And then in essence, their child taught them. So this is where this finding meaning comes from. And again, it's not Patty Frudenberg inventing this. This is information that they realized is definitely helps the grievance process.
Yeah, it's definitely something to go through, Patty. You know, I want to thank you for this coming on today. This is Patty and the Legacy Show from New York. So happy for all of you done. Patty, we're going to come back. You wanted to do something for Dr. King. You know, we had the march on Washington. 50th.
Well, there are some beautiful, beautiful quotes on his monument, and a little excerpts of about them, of, you know, so I thought it was really a beautiful thing, being that, you know, the anniversary of the famous speech in Washington, D.C. I just thought it was apropos. So if we have a few minutes, it would be great.
Go ahead, Patty. We can take it away. Unmute your mic, Patty. Unmute your mic. Unmute your mic. Unmute your microphone. Take your mic.
Okay, there we go. There we go. Okay, so on the statue in Washington, D.C., there are quotations, and the following quotations are engraved on Martin Luther King's memorial. This is the first quote. Out of the mountain of despair, a stone of hope. And from the I Have a Dream speech, Washington, D.C. on August 28th, 1963, the quotation serves as the theme of the overall design of the memorial, which realizes the metaphorical mountain and stone. And it is a beautiful stone, by the way. This is another quote, which you'll hear the facts about this one. I was a drum major for justice, peace, and righteousness. And this quote was removed from the memorial in 2013, paraphrased from his February 4th, 1968 sermon in Atlanta. And the full quote is, yes, if you want to say that I was a drum major, say that I was a drum major for justice. Say that I was a drum major for peace, and I was a drum major for righteousness, and all the other shallow things will not matter. So I thought that was an interesting fact. And then on the south wall, this is a beautiful quote. We shall overcome because the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. I hope so. I hope so. And that was Washington National Cathedral, March 31st, 1968. We got a few more. Stay with us. Here's another beautiful quote. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. And that was The Strength to Love in 1963. Here is another one. There's a few more. I believed that unarmed truth and unconditional love will have the final word in reality. That is why right, temporarily defeated, is stronger than evil triumphant. Oh, and that was the Nobel Peace Prize acceptance speech in Oslo, Norway, 1964. And want some more, Dr. David? I got a couple more up my sleeve.
That is all yours.
Okay, here goes another one. Make a career of humanity. Commit yourself to the noble struggle for equal rights. You will make a better person for yourself, a greater nation for the country, and a finer world to live in. March for the Integrated Schools, April 18th, 1959. Wow. And here's another one. This one's a longer one too. I oppose the war in Vietnam because I love America. I speak out against it, if not in anger, but with anxiety and sorrow in my heart. And above all, with passionate desire to see our beloved country stand as a moral example of the world. Anti-War Conference, Los Angeles, California, February 26, 1967. And here's one more from the South Wall. This is the last one on the South Wall. If we are to have peace on earth, our loyalties must become ecumenical. I can't. For some reason, I'm getting tongue twisted. Ecumenical rather than sectional. Ecumenical, like accumulate. I'm going to repeat this quote again because I want it to sound nice because it's an amazing quote. If we are to have peace on earth, our loyalties must become ecumenical rather than sectional. I told you there has to be some humor. Other loyalties must transcend our race, our tribe, our class, and our nation. And this means we must develop a world of perspective. And that was the Christmas sermon in Atlanta, Georgia, 1967. I got a little tongue twisted on there, but there you go. This is exactly what I'm talking about. You got to have a little humor in life. We're human, everybody. You got to lighten up a little bit. And then we got the North Wall. The North Wall has a few, and let's go for it. The North Wall. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Ooh, I'm going to say that one again, actually. And that's only the first sentence in that one. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. We are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Wherever affects one directly affects all indirectly. That is really really deep. That is really, really deep. And that was a letter from Birmingham, Alabama jail, April 16th, 1963. It really is so true. Wow. I have this is the next quote from the North Wall. I have the audacity to believe that people everywhere can have 3 meals a day for their bodies, education and culture for their minds, and dignity, equality, and freedom for their spirits. Nobel Peace Prize acceptance speech, Oslo, Norway, 1964. Here's another one. It is not enough to say we must not wage war. It is necessary to love peace and sacrifice for it. We must concentrate not merely on the negative explosion of war, but the positive affirmation of peace. Anti-War Conference, Los Angeles, California, February 25th, 1967. This is amazing that there's so many quotes. We have about 5 more to go, and I'll just finish it off here. The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in the moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy. And that was Strength to Love, 1963. Got 4 more. Every nation must now develop an overriding loyalty to mankind as a whole in order to preserve the best in their individual societies. Again, I mean, this is just, to me, should be common sense. I mean, wow, I'm so happy that it's, engraved on the monument. That was New York City, April 4th, 1967. And that's really eerie because April 4th, like a year later, somebody took his life. Wow, that's just crazy. We are determined here in Montgomery to work and fight until justice runs, until like water and righteousness like a mighty stream. Oh, God willing, hallelujah. Montgomery, Alabama, December 5th, 1955. And here, King borrows a verse from the Bible, the book of Amos, which he frequently reused in speeches. Oh, I did not realize that. Wow, I'm learning as I'm reading here, and that's really, really cool. I overlooked that part, and I'm going to go back to that, the book of Amos. Wow. And here we go. We got 2 more. We must come to see that the end we seek in a society at peace with itself, a society that can live with its conscience. Oh my gosh. I mean, really, that's a mic drop right there. That's just it right there, That was Montgomery, Alabama, March 25th, 1965. And lastly, but not least, true peace is not merely the absence of tension. It is the presence of justice. Stride Toward Freedom, 1958. That's absolutely beautiful. I'm so happy that these beautiful quotes are on that statue. And hopefully people pay attention. I mean, my eyes are opened wide, and I'm still learning more each day that, you know what, there's still so much more work to be done. As much work as there is, like they said in the parade on Saturday and Sunday, it's not just a commemoration. It's a continuous movement, justice for all people. And thank you for joining us here in memory of the amazing Martin Luther King. Dr. David, over to you. Or not. We are here in the Legacy Show on the PIC TV network, and we are just so happy that you tune in. We're making the best of it. Why do we have to feel bad to say we're having fun? Our loved ones, even Martin Luther King, you know what? They want to see us thrive because we're alive, and we can't take that for granted. We are heavy-hearted with losses. At the same time, they have taught us so much to move forward and be better. Dr. David, over to you. Oh, now you're on mute.
Thank you, Patty. The whole world loves you. All those quotes are important. folks, when you listen to Patty talking tonight, that is so amazing that we can go back in time and give the respect to Dr. King and for all of those beautiful writings, you know. And I'm in DC. Matter of fact, I was there in the same spot that he gave the speech, I Have a Dream With. Amazing, beautiful time. We at Pick TV Network want to bring you the best. This is Patty from New York on the Live Your Legacy show. Watch again and listen to her story about talking about her husband passing away, her husband's father passing away, and how
Don't scare me.
with Michael might be alive. Michael is alive and well.
This
He's
is a
alive
comedy
and
legacy show. You know, but this is what makes our show so special, is that we're raw, we're real, we're authentic. This is life. We're lifing, okay? We're lifing. There's no such thing as perfect. Only God is perfect. Only Jesus
Always.
is perfect. I mean, I'm Catholic, so I'm going to say that. Other than that, come on, lighten up, Charlie. Let's live a little bit. Let's make the best of it. And what I loved about reading that speech, Dr. David, I wasn't even born yet. I wasn't even born yet. And to me, that's amazing. So the fact that his legacy, he passed away before I was born, shortly soon after I was born. Nonetheless, he passed away. I was born a couple of years later, and here I am in his legacy. That's a beautiful thing. And that's what the show is about. And I'm excited.
Well, that's what we do here on Pick TV Network. We bring you the best. And we want to thank you for your time. Don't forget, look at the Legacy Show every Tuesday right here from Patty from New York. We'll see you next time. God bless you. May heaven smile upon you is our prayer.
It's a beautiful fall evening. The sun is setting. The dog finally stopped barking. Life is good. But inside, there's trouble brewing, and Emma has no idea. Although she feels fine, like her father, Emma is one of the 67 million adults in the U.S. with high blood pressure or hypertension. Just like her radiator that's on the fritz, Emma's heart is working overtime to get the job done. Let's have a look. The heart is the pump in our bodies, delivering blood to the entire system through a set of pipes, or blood vessels of all sizes. Smoking, high cholesterol, diabetes, obesity, physical inactivity, family history, and increased age all contribute to these blood vessels, or our pipes, becoming less elastic. The more blood our heart has to pump through stiff, narrowing arteries, the higher our blood pressure. When the force of the blood against our artery walls is too high, life-threatening health problems can result. Problems like kidney disease, heart disease, stroke, even heart attack. Can Emma get her pressure down before it's too late?